Have you ever felt like people react to you in ways you can't quite explain? If you have a strong personality, chances are you've noticed some people gravitate toward you, while others seem to bristle. Let's face it, not everyone knows how to handle a force of nature. For men, your strength might make you magnetic to some women, but leave other men feeling, let's say, a little jealous. For women, a strong, confident personality, as studies show, can be perceived as a threat to some men, while others find it irresistibly appealing. The truth is, having a strong, intimidating personality isn't about being harsh or cold. It's about carrying an undeniable presence that commands respect and attention. But here's the catch. If you don't realize why people react to you the way they do, you might misread situations or even doubt yourself. So today, we're uncovering 9 signs you have a strong, intimidating personality. These insights will help you recognize your power and learn how to navigate the world with confidence and grace. Before we dive in, hit that like button, subscribe, and let's get started. Number 1. You prefer to be rational rather than follow the crowd. There's something truly remarkable, and at times intimidating, about people who choose reason over conformity. You're the person others might turn to for an objective perspective, unclouded by emotions or social pressures. But this choice, while admirable, can sometimes make you a figure of intimidation in the eyes of others. Imagine this scenario: a lively group conversation where everyone agrees, nodding along to maintain harmony. But you, instead of just blending in, ask questions, not to argue, but to clarify. You highlight contradictions, back up your points with evidence and logic, and suddenly the mood shifts. Some feel enlightened, but others might feel threatened by your sharp approach. German philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer once said, "A man is loved by others to the extent that he moderates his claims upon their good feeling and intelligence." This explains why showing rationality can isolate you at times. Most people, especially those not emotionally mature, prefer to feel right rather than confront the uncomfortable truth of irrational beliefs. You may have been labeled as a know-it-all or a spoilsport, but that's just how some people cope with their insecurities when faced with stark truths. It doesn't mean you're wrong. It simply means the way you present the truth makes others uncomfortable. And this is where Stoic philosophy can serve as a guiding principle. Stoicism teaches us that pursuing truth and reason is not about overpowering others, but about seeking clarity and improvement. Marcus Aurelius, one of the great Stoic philosophers, once wrote, "Truth does not hurt, it only needs to be presented kindly." So, when presenting your arguments, remember that the goal isn't to win a debate, but to open minds to new perspectives. At the same time, choosing reason doesn't mean dismissing emotions. Balancing rationality with compassion is what makes you truly strong. Instead of relying solely on arguments, try putting yourself in others' shoes to understand why they think the way they do. This not only helps you communicate your perspective more effectively, but also fosters relationships built on respect. When you stand firm in your principles, those who value truth will see you as a source of inspiration, a guiding light. But keep in mind, not everyone is ready to face the truth, and that's okay. True strength lies not just in holding on to your beliefs, but in using the truth to build, not destroy. Let your rationality become a beacon, not just for yourself, but for those around you. 2. The validation of others isn't important to you. There's an invisible yet powerful strength in freeing yourself from the need for others' approval. If you're someone who doesn't require anyone else's validation to make decisions, you've reached a level of self-awareness and independence that many can only aspire to. You act because you believe it's the right thing to do, not because someone else has given you the green light. Picture this: your friend suggests a Friday night outing, but you decline, not because you don't like them, but because you're focused on finishing a personal project or simply need time to recharge. You feel no need to apologize or worry they'll think you're boring. It's your decision, and you're perfectly content with it. This level of self-assurance might earn admiration from some, but it could also make others uncomfortable. As philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer pointed out, this trait reflects emotional maturity and profound self-awareness. When you don't need others to validate your choices, you've crossed the threshold of dependence on social approval. This doesn't mean you're indifferent or uncaring. It means you understand your value and know what aligns with your beliefs, regardless of external consensus. However, not everyone will appreciate this. Some might perceive your lack of need for validation as arrogance or aloofness. They might mistake your independence as a dismissal of their worth, when in reality, it's an affirmation of your own. This can create discomfort, especially for those who rely heavily on others' approval. Stoicism teaches that true autonomy comes from focusing on what you can control and releasing what you cannot. When you don't seek validation from others, you're practicing a higher form of mental freedom. You're grounded in your actions and beliefs rather than being swayed by societal expectations. But how do you maintain this balance? On one hand, you don't want to become so detached that you lose the ability to connect with others. On the other, you don't want to let their opinions dictate your path. The answer lies in respectfully listening to others, but ultimately staying rooted in your values and decisions. This is the delicate balance between living authentically and fostering meaningful relationships. By living without the need for external validation, you not only inspire others, but also encourage them to find their own inner strength. This trait is not just admirable, it's rare. Instead of seeking approval, let your actions and values speak for themselves. This independence is the foundation of your strength, and when wielded wisely, it becomes a beacon for others to follow. 3. You have strong moral codes. People with strong moral codes stand out, not because they want to, but because they simply can't do otherwise. In a world where flexibility is often valued over integrity, these individuals become a glaring reflection of what sets them apart. They are not easily swayed by temptations or subtle manipulations, making them both admirable and intimidating. Imagine a leader in a company who isn't captivated by superficial charm or flattery. An employee, accustomed to gaining advantages through smooth talking, suddenly realizes they can't hide their shortcomings from this boss. The failed attempts at manipulation not only leave the employee flustered, but also cultivate deep respect for the leader. Those with strong moral codes compel others to confront their own flaws, sometimes by exposing the weaknesses they try to conceal. In today's society, where bending the rules is sometimes celebrated as cleverness, people with unwavering moral standards are often seen as unrealistic. But it's precisely this distinction that makes them intimidating. They don't conform to a culture of compromise or follow the tides of corruption. They quietly disrupt an order where almost everything seems negotiable. Stoic philosophy teaches that integrity isn't about public displays of virtue, but a profound inner state. It remains steadfast in the face of pressure, temptation, or scrutiny. When you live by strong moral principles, you're not only building value for yourself, but also inspiring others. However, be prepared for pushback from those accustomed to compromise. As Denzel Washington once said, "Some people will never like you because your spirit disturbs their demons." So, how do you uphold your moral codes without isolating yourself? It's crucial to understand that staying true to your values doesn't mean imposing them on others. You don't need to prove anything. Instead, let your actions speak for themselves. True integrity doesn't seek attention, but has the power to earn lasting respect and admiration from like-minded individuals. If your steadfastness makes others uneasy or uncomfortable, remember that it says more about them than it does about you. Focus on doing what's right, not for anyone else, but for yourself. Living with strong moral codes isn't just a choice, it's a declaration that you'll never compromise your values, no matter the external pressures. Though challenging, this is the path to a meaningful and fulfilling life. 4. You don't mind being alone. There's a unique strength in being comfortable with solitude, and not everyone possesses it. In a world where social connections are often seen as a measure of one's worth, those who don't rely on them exude a quiet, magnetic allure. They don't reject society, but instead carefully choose who deserves their time and energy. However, this independence doesn't come naturally. It's forged through pain and hard-earned life lessons. Imagine Sarah, someone who once placed all her trust in a close friendship, only to be let down repeatedly. Whenever she needed someone to lean on, the people she counted on seemed to disappear. One day, after losing a job she had poured her heart into, Sarah called her closest friend, hoping for comfort. Instead, her friend brushed off her feelings with a dismissive, "Oh, that's not as bad as you think." In that moment, Sarah realized that relying on others sometimes only leads to disappointment. From then on, she decided to face her struggles alone, finding solace and strength within herself. People like Sarah aren't closed off. They've simply learned to find power in their own company. When you can sit quietly, confronting your thoughts and emotions without fear, loneliness loses its sting. But this independence often leads to misunderstanding. Others may view such individuals as intimidating, projecting onto them a strength so profound it forces others to reflect on their own insecurities. Those who don't mind being alone don't seek validation from others to feel worthy. After enduring many letdowns, they've realized true happiness doesn't come from pleasing everyone, but from finding inner peace. Yet, this doesn't mean they don't crave connection. Deep down, they still yearn for genuine relationships, bonds built on understanding and shared authenticity. Stoic philosophy teaches us that independence isn't about giving up. It's about approaching life with confidence, taking full responsibility for yourself without blaming others or external circumstances. When you're unafraid of being alone, you're not just strong, you're someone who has triumphed over life's wounds. Like Sarah, you've discovered that you don't need to lean on anyone else because you've already found the most reliable companion yourself. Before we move on to the next one, if you're liking the video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel with the bell, so you don't miss out on future videos. And if you enjoy this kind of content as much as I do, comment "I am who I am" and I'm proud of it. Let's keep learning. 5. You can have difficult conversations. Think back to the last time you found yourself in an awkward situation where someone did something wrong, yet the room fell silent. Maybe it was a colleague who always missed deadlines, a friend who let you down repeatedly, or even a family member shirking responsibility. You felt frustrated, but instead of speaking up, you stayed quiet like most people do. Why? Because confronting the truth takes courage, and that's not easy. Now imagine you decide to handle things differently. Picture yourself in a team meeting. A coworker hasn't met their deadlines, holding up everyone else's progress. Instead of remaining silent, you speak up, not to criticize, but to find a solution. I've noticed we're struggling to stay on track. Is there something we can do to support each other better? Your approach isn't just direct, but also constructive, showing both accountability and care. The room listens, and even the coworker takes responsibility. Stoic philosophy teaches us that truth should take precedence over comfort. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Fear not speaking the truth, for it is always the foundation of progress." When you confront a difficult truth, you don't just improve the situation, you display inner strength. This isn't about hurting others, it's about leading with integrity and courage. But this isn't only about work. Maybe you're in a relationship where you feel disrespected, or you have a friend who constantly takes advantage of your kindness. When you find the courage to express your honest feelings, you set boundaries, protect your self-worth, and most importantly, create space for a healthier connection. Still, not everyone will appreciate your directness right away. Some may feel threatened, while others will admire the integrity and strength you've shown. Either way, the ability to have difficult conversations not only earns you respect from others, but also deepens the respect you have for yourself. So, the next time you're faced with a situation that calls for the truth, don't shy away. It's an opportunity to assert your strength, not just in the eyes of others, but within yourself. And in that moment, you won't just be intimidating. You'll be respected, valued, and truly remarkable. 6. You stand out in group settings. Imagine walking into a family gathering. Suddenly, the chatter quiets down, and all eyes subtly shift toward you. You haven't said a word, haven't done anything unusual, yet the atmosphere shifts. For a moment you wonder, did I do something wrong? But no, it's not your fault, it's the sheer force of your presence. Think about attending a casual dinner party. The room is filled with laughter and light-hearted conversations. But when you arrive, the energy changes. Conversations seem to soften, and people become more reserved. You notice this, and it stings. A close friend approaches, but instead of their usual carefree chatter, they tread cautiously, as if afraid to offend you. You try to engage, but there's an invisible wall, a distance that wasn't there before. It's a subtle yet painful reality. Your strength and confidence create an unintentional divide. You want to connect, to belong, but your powerful aura can make others hesitant, unsure of how to approach you. Stoic philosophy reminds us that true strength isn't about being universally liked. It's about staying true to your values, even when you feel misunderstood. And picture this, you're sharing your thoughts in a conversation, but instead of healthy debate, others merely nod or look away, unwilling to challenge your perspective. It leaves you feeling isolated. Your confidence, while unspoken, can unintentionally intimidate others, making them feel unworthy of standing alongside you. This reality cuts deeper in personal settings. A close friend might stop sharing their silly anecdotes. A family member might avoid your direct questions. It's heartbreaking when those you love seem distant. But it's not because they don't care. It's because they see your strength and don't know how to meet it. However, remember this. Your strength is not something to apologize for. It's a powerful reminder of the influence you carry. What matters is using that influence to foster understanding and connection. Instead of softening yourself, lean into your strength with empathy and listening. Let your confidence become a place where others feel supported and inspired, not hesitant or distant. By doing this, you'll not only bridge the gap, but also transform your relationships into meaningful connections, built on respect, trust, and authenticity. Your strength can be a foundation for deeper understanding, not a barrier to connection. 7. Your words carry weight. Have you ever noticed that when you speak, people stop and listen more attentively? This isn't just politeness. It stems from the weight your words carry, a value not everyone possesses. It's not because you speak louder, but because your delivery, calm tone, and quiet confidence give your words a significance that resonates deeply with those around you. Imagine sitting with a group of friends, everyone laughing and joking around. When you begin to share a thought, the room quiets. No one interrupts, not because you command the room, but because people sense that what you're about to say matters. This might surprise or even unsettle you. You could be sharing a simple perspective, yet the reactions reveal that your words hold more influence than you might realize. The impact of your words doesn't always come from their content, but from how you choose your timing and delivery. Stoic philosophy teaches us that careful speech reflects self-control and wisdom. When you don't overspeak, what you choose to share becomes more valuable. Others feel that you've considered your words carefully, which makes them worth paying attention to. However, this dynamic can create an invisible pressure. People may find it challenging to converse with you, worrying about offering the right response instead of reacting naturally. A friend might admit they feel tense in discussions with you, thinking you always have a deeper, more accurate perspective. This unintended consequence can make you someone others admire, yet approach cautiously. The key is to channel this ability into connection rather than creating distance. When you realize your words carry weight, actively invite others into the conversation. Ask questions instead of always providing answers. Encourage opposing ideas to create a more welcoming dialogue. This not only strengthens your relationships, but also helps others feel valued in your presence. Remember, this ability is a gift, but also a responsibility. By choosing your words wisely and using them to uplift others, you can become a source of inspiration rather than pressure. Stoic philosophy reminds us that true strength isn't just about influence. It's about fostering reflection and positive change in those around us. Use this power thoughtfully and with intention. 8. You are decisive and direct. If you possess the ability to make quick and clear decisions, you hold one of the defining traits of a strong and admirable personality. This quality shines not only in life-altering choices like career paths or big transitions, but also in small, everyday moments like deciding where to eat lunch while everyone else hesitates. This confidence sets you apart, yet it can also intimidate others. Imagine going out with friends to pick a restaurant. While the group is stuck in indecision, you assess the options and quickly suggest, "Let's go to place A. The food is great, and we don't have to wait." Everyone agrees, and your decisiveness ensures the evening runs smoothly. Yet sometimes this very swiftness can leave others feeling overshadowed, especially those who are naturally indecisive. Being decisive isn't just about making the right choice, it's about committing to your decisions. Stoic philosophy teaches that a decisive person isn't swayed by conflicting opinions or paralyzed by fear of failure. Instead, they focus on action, embrace risks, and refuse to let doubt slow them down. This decisiveness doesn't just serve your interests, it positions you as a leader in the eyes of others. However, this trait can have its drawbacks. Your directness and clarity might sometimes be mistaken for bluntness or insensitivity. You might easily point out a mistake, but if done in public, it could embarrass someone rather than help them. For example, assisting a friend in correcting a minor error in their speech is helpful, but doing so in front of others might make them feel humiliated instead of appreciative. The key is balancing decisiveness with tact and courtesy. Arthur Schopenhauer once wisely remarked that intentionally creating enemies through unnecessary rudeness is as foolish as setting your own house on fire. Politeness is a powerful tool that helps maintain relationships while preserving your strong personality. This doesn't mean compromising your principles, but using your clarity wisely and constructively. When you harness the strength of your decisiveness, you not only take control of your life, but also inspire those around you. A strong personality isn't about intimidating others. It's about guiding, supporting, and fostering a positive environment. Remember, a well-timed decision made with precision and respect not only propels you toward your goals, but also solidifies your value in the eyes of others. So, did you recognize yourself in any of these signs? If you have a strong personality, remember it's not a burden, it's your superpower. It gives you the ability to lead, stand confidently, and build relationships based on genuine respect. But like any superhero, you need to wield this power wisely. Let your strength inspire others, not alienate them. Confidence doesn't mean you stop listening, and being strong doesn't mean shutting yourself off from connection. If you found this video helpful, leave a like and share it with your friends, especially someone who might need a reminder of their own strength. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button to continue exploring the power of mindset and personality with Stoic training. And here's a thought. Comment below, "I am who I am and am proud of it." We'd love to hear your stories and insights. See you in the next video. Have you ever felt exhausted after helping someone, only to realize they barely cared or made any effort to change? It's like trying to push a boulder up a hill, only for it to keep rolling back, crushing your efforts each time. Stoic philosophy reminds us that helping others is a noble act, but not everyone deserves our patience and valuable energy. Sometimes stepping back is a way to protect ourselves and preserve a mindful compassion. Today, we'll explore 10 types of people you should think twice about helping, those who might pull you down rather than rise with you, especially the 10th type. Understanding it might forever change your view of generosity. Before we dive in, consider this story. A devoted father watched his son grow increasingly careless, slipping in his work and life. Each time his son encountered a setback, he stepped in, offered financial support, or intervene to save him from being fired. But day after day, nothing changed. His son remained dependent, lacking the drive to stand on his own. One day, it dawned on him that his constant support had created reliance rather than resilience in his son. Instead of helping him grow, had only strengthened his dependence. So, who are the people we should think carefully about before helping? Let's dive into each type, gaining insights into how to offer kindness thoughtfully and with discernment. 1. The immutable. Have you ever tried to help someone who, no matter what you did, seemed stubbornly committed to their current situation? It's not just exhausting, it can drain your spirit when you see the potential for change, but the other person doesn't, or, worse, outright refuses it. Modern Stoicism reminds us that while compassion and a desire to help are noble qualities, sometimes the wisest course of action is to step back, preserving our own energy for things that truly matter. I remember reconnecting with an old college friend who couldn't stop complaining about his life. When I saw him again, I thought maybe I could lend a hand, offering some encouragement or advice to help him find a way forward. He had once been talented, passionate and capable, but during our conversation, he only focused on his failures, the unfair cards life had dealt him. I patiently listened and tried to offer supportive words, but he countered every suggestion with complaints, excuses, and a litany of reasons why change just wasn't possible for him. It felt like trying to row a boat with someone who simply wouldn't pick up their oar. I realized that no matter how much I wanted to help, my efforts were pointless if he didn't want to change. People like this aren't genuinely looking to grow. They just want to unload their burdens and hope someone else will shoulder them. In today's world, we often meet such individuals. Those who take others' help for granted and quickly reject it when it requires their own effort. Stoicism teaches us that not every battle is ours to fight, and that helping isn't always the best approach. Epicurus once said that it's not what happens to you that matters, but how you respond to it. We can extend a helping hand, but if the person isn't willing to reach for it, then the responsibility is no longer ours. Modern Stoicism advises that compassion is essential, but it must be paired with boundaries. People who resist change are actually clinging to a deep-seated fear of failure and the unknown life they've grown unaccustomed to facing. This resistance is a form of self-deception, masking a profound fear of stepping out of their comfort zone. When dealing with people like this, the kindest thing you can do is step back, allowing them to find their own path or take responsibility. This isn't abandonment, it's respecting their freedom to choose. Because, as Stoics remind us, wisdom lies in recognizing when to step aside, letting others learn their lessons on their own. 2. The manipulators. Ever feel like you're surrounded by emotional vampires, not the movie kind, but real people who seem to drain every bit of energy you have? These are the manipulators, those who treat your kindness as a free buffer. If you've ever found yourself exhausted after helping someone, it may be time to question if you're truly helping the right people. Imagine your relationships as a garden. Healthy relationships are like nurturing plants that grow with care. But with manipulators, it's like watering a cactus that demands more than it ever needs, leaving you parched and exhausted. Manipulators are masters of guilt-tripping, making you feel responsible for meeting their needs, even at the cost of your happiness. Stoic wisdom reminds us that while helping others is noble, your inner peace is priceless. There is nothing more exhausting than realizing that every act of kindness you extend is just another brick in the wall of someone's self-centeredness. Ultimately, you may end up as their therapist, their energy source, even their enabler. But let's be clear, they're not looking for help. They're looking for excuses to keep you feeling responsible for their issues. A clear red flag is if they're always in crisis, and you're always the problem solver. We've all had that one friend or family member who seems stuck in a never-ending drama series, and over time, their issues become your burden. I remember a colleague in my 50s who would complain endlessly about her health, her family issues, her financial troubles. Each crisis seemed to flow into the next. Out of compassion, I would listen and even offer solutions, but nothing ever changed. She clung to her problems like a life raft, refusing to consider change and even dismissing any suggestions for improvement. Over time, I realized my support wasn't helping. It was only enabling her pattern of self-pity and dependence. Modern Stoicism, especially in a world filled with constant distractions, teaches us the balance of knowing when to lend a hand and when to keep our distance. Sometimes a firm no is kinder than a reluctant yes that leaves you drained. You are not obligated to solve everyone's problems or be their emotional anchor. As Epicurus wisely said, the man who laughs at himself will never run out of things to laugh at. Recognizing manipulation helps you detach from those who drain your spirit. Setting boundaries is essential, just as Stoic wisdom teaches us. Marcus Aurelius once said that the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Remember this when deciding how much time and energy to devote to others. Manipulators thrive on pushing your boundaries, leaving you feeling as if their needs are endless. By recognizing this behavior and establishing clear limits, you regain control over your own peace of mind. Ultimately, the key is valuing your own energy. You're not here to be everyone's savior. You're here to live your life to the fullest. Helping someone is a beautiful thing, but sometimes it merely perpetuates a cycle of abuse. Before you reach out, ask yourself, am I truly helping? Or am I just letting myself be manipulated? Remember, you are the author of your own life. Don't let a manipulator hold the pen and write your story. Life should be filled with genuine relationships that lift you up, not ones that drain you. Avoiding the trap of manipulation requires strong boundaries. As Stoics teach us, Marcus Aurelius reminded us that protecting our peace is essential to maintaining quality thoughts. Next time you're faced with a manipulator, pause and ask yourself, am I watering a plant that will grow? Or am I just feeding a cactus that endlessly demands more? The choice is yours. And with the guidance of Stoic principles, it's a choice you can make with confidence and clarity. 3. The victim. One of the most exhausting types of people we encounter in life is the victim, someone who constantly blames everything and everyone around them without ever taking responsibility for themselves. These people are perpetually wrapped up in a narrative of unfairness and misfortune, as if they're seeking a loyal audience to endlessly recount their tales of woe. Perhaps you've experienced sitting for hours listening to someone like this complain about life. My boss doesn't appreciate me. My co-workers don't support me. The universe seems to be against me. The more you listen, the more it feels like you're trapped in an endless soap opera with a script that's on repeat. I once had a friend, a longtime colleague, who lived in this state of perpetual victimhood. He constantly complained about everything from his career to his family, always finding a reason to excuse every failure. At one point he was entrusted with an important project, but instead of focusing and giving it his best, he spent most of his time complaining that his boss wasn't fair and that his colleagues weren't cooperative. Eventually, the project failed, and as usual, he blamed everyone but himself. People like this don't seek solutions. They simply look for someone to share the burden of responsibility. Stoic philosophy teaches us that true strength doesn't come from fault-finding or blame-shifting, but from realizing that we have control over how we respond to any situation. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." However, the victim doesn't understand this. They just want to point fingers at circumstances and others, repeating the same cycle of disappointment and helplessness. When you try to help them, it's like handing them a map, yet they insist that every roadblock is someone else's fault, and every obstacle is an unfair twist of fate. Thus, what we often need to do with people like this is to step back, not to abandon them, but to allow them to confront themselves and realize that the key to change lies in their own hands, not in someone else's. You might feel compelled to help, to offer advice, or even to step in and solve their problems. But remember, not everyone is ready to change. Some people feel secure in their role as a victim, seeking sympathy rather than taking action. The wisest thing you can do is to protect your own energy and peace. As Stoics have always reminded us, don't allow yourself to be pulled into their spiral of self-pity, because you cannot change their outlook if they aren't willing to. Epicurus once said, "We suffer not from the events in our lives, but from our judgment about them." The victim chooses to view life through a lens of blame and helplessness, but that is their choice, not yours. You are not obligated to carry the weight of their self-made problems, nor are you responsible for fixing their life. Sometimes the greatest kindness you can offer is to step back and let them face the reality they've been avoiding. This doesn't mean you stop caring. It means giving them the space to recognize that the power to change lies within themselves. In today's world, this dynamic is common. Whether it's friends, family members, or co-workers, there are always those who cling to their victim story, blaming everything but themselves. While it's tempting to step in as the helper, it's essential to recognize that some people are not yet ready to change. They are stuck in their narrative, and no amount of advice or support will make a difference unless they choose to take responsibility for their life. This is where Stoicism offers invaluable insight. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." The victim allows their thoughts to spiral into negativity, and until they change their mindset, they will remain trapped in their role. As a practitioner of Stoic principles, you understand the value of focusing on what you can control. You can't change a victim's perspective, but you can control how you respond to their behavior. By setting boundaries and maintaining emotional distance, you protect your own peace of mind while giving them the opportunity to take responsibility for their actions. This doesn't mean you're abandoning them. It means you're respecting your own well-being and giving them the space to grow. After all, Stoicism teaches us that true wisdom comes from within, and sometimes the best way to help someone is to step back and let them find their path on their own. In the end, remember that your role isn't to be everyone's savior. The victim doesn't need you to fix their life. They need to realize they have the power to do it themselves. It's not your job to shoulder the burden of their issues. As Epicurus wisely said, "We suffer not from the events in our lives, but from our judgment about them. The victim chooses to view life through a lens of blame and helplessness, but that is their choice, not yours. The best gift you can offer the victim is the truth that life doesn't just happen to us. We shape it. When they finally grasp this, they can step out of their self-imposed role as a victim and become the true navigator of their own life. 4. The narcissist. Have you ever felt like you were stuck on an endless carousel when dealing with someone who constantly seeks attention, yet doesn't truly care about anyone else? Narcissists are like the stars of their own life drama, always seeking the spotlight and admiration without regard for the feelings of others. Marcus Aurelius once said, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." This perfectly captures the essence of narcissists. They're perpetually chasing validation but lack genuine empathy, locked in a cycle of craving admiration without truly valuing anyone else's worth. Imagine having a friend, maybe a colleague, who shows up at every meeting or family gathering like they're center stage. At one point, they come to you with a personal problem, appearing distraught and desperate. You take the time to listen, offering sincere advice, hoping to help them find a solution. Yet after all that, they seem uninterested in any of your suggestions. Instead, they revert back to their own story, focused solely on receiving sympathy and praise, without any real intent to change. Every interaction with them feels like trying to fill a bucket with holes. No matter how much you pour in, it's never enough. The hard truth is that narcissists aren't looking for solutions or personal growth. They want attention, and they'll go to great lengths to get it. Your efforts to help only become more fuel for their endless need for validation, leaving you drained from trying too hard with no result. Modern Stoicism teaches us that while we can't control others' behavior, we can control how we respond. The key is to set boundaries to protect our precious energy from those who only see us as a reflection of their own ego. Helping others is noble, but it shouldn't come at the cost of your own peace and happiness. Invest your energy in people who genuinely need and value your support. Like a wise gardener, you wouldn't waste time watering weeds. You'd nurture the flowers, those who appreciate and bring meaning to your life. Narcissists are like weeds, never growing into something worthwhile, while those who value you are the blooms that make life vibrant. One of the most important things when dealing with narcissists is to not let yourself get tangled in their web, to avoid letting their vanity and selfishness dominate your life. Keep your mind like a mirror, untainted by their self-centeredness, reflecting back your own peace and purpose. Narcissists will always seek attention, but you can choose not to be a spectator in their drama. Instead, direct your precious time and energy toward relationships that provide value and serenity, because in this short life, time is our most valuable resource and deserves to be spent on those truly worth it. In the end, life is a series of choices. You can choose to dedicate your time and energy to those who are grateful and grow with you, rather than let it be consumed by people who only seek validation. Remember, you have the right to decide who is worthy of your attention, and anyone who truly respects you will never make you feel you have to try so hard to get noticed. 5. People who don't value your time. Time is one of the most precious resources we possess. Yet there are people who waste it without a second thought, like a child carelessly spilling juice on a carpet. These time wasters don't respect your schedule, your needs, or your personal boundaries. Imagine your time as a limited, irreplaceable lottery ticket. Now imagine these time wasters constantly showing up just when you're ready to enjoy a quiet afternoon. As if your day is a buffet they can take from without asking. They operate in a way that feels almost deliberate, with little regard for your boundaries or your need for personal space. We've all been there. You may have an important meeting, a looming deadline, or even just the simple wish to relax. But these people seem to believe their needs are more urgent than anything you've planned. It's as if they think you're a clock that runs 24/7, always ready to meet their demands without any thought for your own need to rest. Dealing with a time waster is like trying to put together a 1,000-piece puzzle in the dark. It's frustrating and feels nearly impossible. However, there's hope, and modern Stoicism provides practical solutions for these situations. The first step is to safeguard your time by setting clear boundaries. Imagine your time as a garden, where each time waster is a weed trying to choke out your flowers. If you don't establish boundaries, they'll continue to encroach on your space. Let people know when you're available and when you're not, and don't be afraid to say no politely but firmly. Marcus Aurelius, one of the great Stoic minds, once said, "Don't waste any more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." In this case, being a good person means being wise enough to protect your time. Communicate your schedule and stick to it, because your life isn't meant to meet everyone else's expectations, but to fulfill your own priorities. Prioritizing your own agenda is essential. When a time waster shows up, remember that the most powerful conversation you can have is sometimes the one you don't engage in. You don't owe everyone your time, nor do you need to justify why you choose to spend it on things that matter to you. When you prioritize your goals and protect your schedule, you regain control over your life. This doesn't mean isolating yourself from everyone, but it does mean not allowing your time to be taken by people who don't respect it. Think about how modern Stoicism can guide you in these moments. A Stoic would not waste time trying to explain or justify their decisions to someone who doesn't value their time. Seneca, another great Stoic, once remarked, "It's not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. Don't let others steal your most valuable resource, your time. Learn to recognize those who don't respect it and have the courage to set boundaries." 6. The deaf one. Have you ever encountered someone who seems to listen, nods at every piece of advice you offer, yet entirely ignores it in action? This person is like someone with selective hearing, presenting the impression they are absorbing your wisdom like a sponge. But when it's time to act, they remain stagnant, trapped in their own patterns. Speaking to them can feel like talking to a wall. No matter how profound your words are, they bounce back, leaving no impact. Helping someone like this becomes a frustrating cycle, draining your energy without any results. Much like trying to inflate a balloon with a hole in it. They take in your advice, but fail to apply it, rendering your efforts wasted. You may find yourself questioning why you even try, why you expend your energy on someone with no real intention of moving forward. Stoic principles teach us the importance of conserving our energy and focusing on what we can control, our own actions, thoughts, and responses. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." You can offer all the advice in the world, but action is ultimately the individual's responsibility. If they are unwilling to change, why keep repeating yourself? It becomes a situation where you pour yourself into someone who is neither ready nor willing to grow. Stoic wisdom reminds us that our efforts are best invested in things that can make a difference. The deaf cling to their habit of inaction, hold fast to excuses, maim, and take a passive role in their lives, ignoring any guidance that could propel them forward. Imagine talking to a friend who constantly complains about a stagnant career, yet refuses every suggestion on how to improve. They nod, they agree, but next time you meet, they're in the same spot, rehearsing the same complaint. It's like planting seeds in barren soil, hoping for a lush garden. Modern Stoicism teaches that we should not waste our efforts on those unreceptive to growth or self-improvement. Setting boundaries is one way to handle the deaf listener. Think of it as filling a broken jar. No matter how much you pour, it never fills. Instead of exhausting your patience and energy, focus on people who are ready to listen, grow, and act on your advice. Isn't it more fulfilling to help someone who genuinely values your input and makes progress? Epicurus once said, "It is not what happens to you, but how you respond to it that matters." Instead of becoming frustrated by those who reject your advice, choose to focus on areas where your guidance will be valued. Consider yourself as a gardener. When you plant a seed in fertile soil, it has the potential to grow and bear fruit. But if you plant in barren soil, no amount of watering or care will yield anything. Sometimes the best thing you can do for the deaf is to let them face the consequences of their inaction. Life has its ways of teaching lessons, words cannot, and stepping back allows them to learn what they need on their own. Your role isn't to be a parrot repeating the same advice in hopes that this time they might hear it. Your energy is precious and should be dedicated to those who genuinely seek progress. Stoic teachings remind us that real personal growth doesn't come from simply hearing advice, but from taking disciplined action. Seneca taught that our lives aren't inherently short, but we waste so much of it on pursuits with little reward. Modern life brings us into contact with people who nod and seem receptive to what we say, but never put in the effort to apply it. This could be a colleague who always asks for advice but makes the same mistakes, or a friend seeking guidance without changing their behavior. Stoicism, with its emphasis on action and self-discipline, teaches us that our energy is finite and we must use it wisely. A true Stoic understands that efforts should be directed toward those willing and eager to progress. By recognizing the deaf listener for who they are, you free yourself from the exhausting cycle of giving unheeded advice and reclaim your energy for those genuinely seeking growth. 7. The dramatic person. Have you ever met someone who seems to step straight out of a Shakespearean tragedy, where every small inconvenience becomes a catastrophe and every bad day feels like the end of the world? It's as if their life is a stage and they're performing with you as the audience, drawn into their endless drama. Sometimes you feel compelled to help them, thinking they genuinely need guidance to navigate their self-created chaos. But the truth is, people like this aren't really looking for help. They want an audience. And you're the one sitting in the front row, silently witnessing every suffering in their never-ending play. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic philosopher, once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength when dealing with the dramatic." This wisdom is invaluable. They live in a world filled with turmoil of their own making, and no matter how hard you try to help, they will always return to their drama. It's like sitting in a theater expecting to see a regular film, only to find yourself pulled into a tale filled with tears, with them as the star and you as the reluctant spectator. You may see them endlessly blowing things out of proportion, making everything unbearably serious, and if you're not careful, you'll be swept into their storm of emotions. Imagine a friend who constantly complains about every little thing. Every call is an emergency broadcast about their life, from minor setbacks at work to ridiculous personal issues. You try to offer advice, but in return, you only hear more despair, as though your counsel can never truly save their world. And so, after each conversation, you feel drained, realizing that your efforts are in vain. That's the nature of the dramatic person. Sometimes the best thing you can do is set boundaries and refuse to be a part of their eternal theater of suffering. It doesn't mean you're indifferent. It means you're choosing to protect your own peace, because your life isn't a stage for their endless tragedies. Stoic philosophy teaches us that compassion does not mean sacrificing our own peace. You can care from a distance, maintaining enough space to avoid getting entangled in their chaos. Imagine a shield around you, allowing you to witness their pain, but preventing you from being overwhelmed by it. Like a superhero, you can show kindness without letting their negativity become your burden. This is one of the core principles of modern Stoicism, practicing compassion without giving up your inner peace. It's about being a supporting character, not a cast member in their play. Sometimes what a dramatic person needs is not a savior but a mirror. Instead of offering solutions they'll likely ignore, try posing questions that encourage them to reflect. A simple question like, "Do you think things are really as bad as they seem?" can be surprisingly powerful. This doesn't mean you're taking on a mission to save them, but just giving a gentle nudge towards self-awareness. The secrets of Stoicism remind us that true growth comes from within, and sometimes all someone needs is the space to see their situation more clearly. Don't expect immediate results, though a dramatic person is deeply invested in their role, and while a moment of reflection might help, they're unlikely to abandon their way of life overnight. Another often overlooked strategy is humor. Stoics understand life's absurdity and encourage humor as a way of dealing with its challenges. Seneca once said that sometimes even living is an act of courage. When faced with someone's dramatic outburst, a light-hearted comment like, "Sounds like a real doomsday this time," can offer perspective. Humor won't solve their deeper issues, but it can break the endless cycle of their tragedy and lighten the mood. Life is too short to be consumed by someone else's constant dramas. The dramatic person will continue seeking attention from anyone willing to listen. But as a follower of Stoicism, you have a choice. Don't allow your energy and time to be wasted on never-ending performances. As Marcus Aurelius once said, "The happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts." So, choose to surround yourself with people who bring joy, support, and push you to grow. People who face life's challenges with resilience and find joy even in small moments. Your life is rich with its own challenges and beauty. Don't let your existence become the stage for someone else's tragedy. 8. The ungrateful. Have you ever helped someone only to receive a cold, indifferent thank you in return? That's the essence of ingratitude. Those people who live as if everyone's kindness and efforts are merely things they deserve, as if they hold a coupon for unlimited care and attention that can be cashed in anywhere, but never reciprocated. These people are emotional black holes, taking everything you offer without filling the emptiness within themselves, leaving you exhausted and questioning why you ever bothered to help in the first place. In Stoicism, gratitude is a core virtue that helps us find balance and appreciate the good things in life. Marcus Aurelius once said, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. So why waste your energy on those who seem to have forgotten the importance of this essential lesson? Gratitude is not just about saying thank you. It's about recognizing and appreciating the efforts of others." The ungrateful completely miss this point, expecting more while appreciating less. Imagine it like this. You're on a boat and you see someone struggling in the water. You jump in, risking your safety, to pull them onto the boat. A grateful person would look at you with heartfelt thanks, saying, "Thank you so much. I don't know what I would have done without you." But the ungrateful, they glare at you, complaining, "You took too long. I could have drowned." They care nothing for the fact that you saved them, focusing instead on how they feel you didn't do enough or didn't act fast enough. The truth is, not everyone in trouble genuinely wants help. Some just want to criticize how everyone else is rescuing them poorly. The ungrateful are like plants that never bloom, no matter how much you nurture them. They take all your effort and give nothing back. While it's important to understand that not everyone was raised with the same appreciation for gratitude, that doesn't mean you should sacrifice your emotional health on the altar of their indifference. The principles of Stoicism remind us that while we cannot control others, we can control our responses to them. The first step: set clear boundaries. If you notice someone repeatedly taking advantage of your kindness without acknowledgement or appreciation, don't hesitate to draw some lines. Think of it as telling a plant it can't grow in the shade forever. It needs light, and you're not an endless source of that light. Setting boundaries doesn't mean you're no longer generous. It means you're protecting your energy from being wasted on people who don't value it. Modern Stoicism emphasizes this as essential to maintaining your emotional balance, much like saving your best ingredients for a special meal rather than wasting them on a frozen pizza, microwaved for convenience. Stoic principles teach us to be mindful of where we invest our time and effort because, like our energy, these resources are finite. Helping the ungrateful drains you, while helping those who appreciate it lifts you up and strengthens the cycle of kindness. A practice often overlooked but crucial is to nurture gratitude within yourself. When you focus too much on helping others, especially those who don't appreciate it, you can forget to cultivate your own gratitude. Take time to appreciate what you have, the people who value you, and even the small peaceful moments you create in your own life. Stoics remind us that he who is not satisfied with what he has will not be satisfied with what he wants. But by focusing on your own gratitude, you ensure that your emotional reserves remain full, even when dealing with those who drain you. It's also essential to accept that some people will never change, no matter how much you give. Some individuals will never learn the value of gratitude. Accepting this truth can free you from the emotional burden of waiting for thanks that may never come. Consider the ungrateful like a broken clock. No matter how many times you try to fix it, it remains out of sync. And that's okay. You're not responsible for their growth, only for the time and energy you choose to invest in them. Acceptance is a fundamental component of Stoic wisdom, allowing you to move beyond situations and people who don't contribute to your happiness. So, next time you encounter someone ungrateful, remember that you don't have to be the hero in their story. Life is too short to waste on people who don't value your efforts. Modern Stoicism encourages us to seek relationships and connections that are mutually beneficial, where gratitude flows naturally and consistently. You deserve to spend your time with those who appreciate your contributions, not those who expect them as an entitlement and never say a word of thanks in return. At the end of the day, what truly matters is your emotional balance. Surround yourself with people who understand the value of what you bring, and be selective with your generosity. As the Stoics advised, it's better to invest your time and energy in those who lift you up rather than those who pull you down. After all, as the saying goes, gratitude is not only the greatest virtue, but the parent of all other virtues. In today's world, where our time and energy are constantly demanded, it's more important than ever to make sure we use them wisely. The ungrateful will always be there, ready to take anything they can without giving anything back. But you have the choice in where to direct your efforts. By following Stoic principles, you'll find yourself surrounded by those who value you, and in turn, you'll cultivate stronger, more fulfilling relationships. 9. The dependent. The dependent personality often seems harmless at first, but in reality, they're like a backpack full of problems that weigh on those around them. They don't just expect you to lighten their burdens, they rely on you to make all the crucial decisions in their lives. Imagine you're at a lively party, everyone is laughing, and music is playing. Then suddenly, a dependent friend corners you, and a light-hearted conversation turns into a deep dive into their endless list of issues. From taking care of their dog to deciding what to eat for dinner, to every little aspect of their day. They're not just looking for sympathy, they're seeking someone willing to take charge of their life. Stoicism teaches us that while we can't control everything that happens, we can control our responses. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." This is a powerful reminder to stay grounded when dealing with dependent personalities. Setting clear boundaries with them is essential. Imagine being on a boat. If someone starts drilling holes at the bottom, you wouldn't sit idly by and wait to sink with them. You'd stop them to protect yourself. Dependents often make you feel like you're the only safe harbor they can rely on. But instead of letting yourself be their perpetual lifeline, encourage them to start rowing. A simple question like, "What would you do if no one were here to help?" could be the nudge they need to start considering solutions on their own. Practicing emotional detachment is also vital. Dependents often draw others into their emotional whirlpools, but you are not responsible for bearing the weight of their struggles. Create a safe distance that preserves your peace of mind. This isn't a lack of compassion, but rather a healthy boundary. You can offer them reason and perspective, helping them see their issues from a different angle, without being pulled into their endless stream of worries. Don't be afraid to say no, especially when their issues start encroaching on your own well-being. Your energy is finite, and you are not obligated to spend it on people who only expect solutions without making an effort to overcome challenges themselves. Stoicism underscores the importance of self-reliance and personal responsibility. By encouraging them to make decisions and be accountable, you'll help foster a healthier, more balanced relationship. Not every burden is yours to carry. The more you let them take responsibility, the sooner they'll learn to stand on their own. Life is a journey of balance, and sometimes the best way to help is by stepping back and letting others find their own way. 10. The denier. Encountering a denier can feel like facing an invisible war. They cling to their self-constructed world, rejecting any truth that life tries to show them. No matter how clear the facts are, They continue to live in their fantasy, much like a child clutching a safety blanket. Denial can be exhausting, as every attempt to help seems to vanish into thin air. All the logic and patience you bring won't shift their perspective, like trying to teach a fish to fly. Imagine you have a compass that reliably points north, but this person insists that south is the real north. You patiently explain and guide, but as soon as you show them true north, they look at you as though you're speaking an alien language. Helping someone like this can feel like trying to move a brick wall with your bare hands. Every effort leaves you drained and questioning the point of even trying. It's moments like these that reveal a core Stoic truth. Not everything is within your control. As Marcus Aurelius once said, you have power over your mind, not external events. When it comes to dealing with deniers, knowing when to let go becomes essential. Picture a friend who's always interpreting life through their own unique filter. You've invested time in listening and advising, only to find that no matter what you say, they hold tight to their alternate reality. It's easy to feel disheartened, even frustrated, as your well-meaning advice falls flat. But rather than continually trying to change their perspective, the best thing you can do is set boundaries for yourself. When you accept that some people simply won't change their thinking, you free yourself from the weight of trying to rescue those who don't want help. Instead of exhausting yourself with reason or arguments, a gentle touch of humor may be a way to reach them. A light-hearted comment about the Holy South they believe in might nudge them toward a different view. However, remember that even humor isn't a guarantee. Stoicism reminds us that our power lies in controlling our reactions, and sometimes the best response is to step back. In life, our time and energy are limited. Don't let them be drained by those who reject growth or refuse to see reality. You have the right to live your life, giving your energy to those who respect it. As Epicurus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Letting go doesn't mean abandoning someone. It's a wise choice to preserve your peace. If you've read this far, leave a comment saying, I choose peace. I'm eager to hear your thoughts and experiences. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Stoic Training and turn on notifications so you don't miss our upcoming videos filled with more wisdom for living. Thank you for your support, and I'll see you in the next video. Trust, it's the glue that holds our relationships together. Whether in love, friendship, or at work, it's what allows us to open up, share our deepest emotions, and rely on others for support. Without it, communication falters, connections weaken, and respect becomes a fleeting concept. But here's the truth. Not everyone in your life deserves your trust. Some people uplift us, while others drag us down into negativity and doubt. In today's fast-paced world, where a smile can mask countless ulterior motives, or a handshake can carry unspoken agendas, figuring out who's trustworthy can feel like walking a tightrope. Enter Stoicism, a timeless philosophy that serves as a guiding compass in navigating tricky relationships while preserving your inner peace. In this video, we uncover 9 types of people you should never trust. Together, we'll learn how to recognize them and handle these personalities in ways that protect your mental well-being. But before we dive in, don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you're new here. Your support keeps us inspired to create more life-enhancing content. Ready to spot the untrustworthy and safeguard your peace? Let's get started. The first type of person you should not trust: people who spread secrets. Imagine sitting at a cafe, chatting with a colleague. Everything seems normal until they start sharing sensitive stories about others, pointing out weaknesses and mistakes of your co-workers. Without hesitation, they speak as though you're someone special, someone they trust. But pause for a moment and ask yourself, is this really someone you should trust? People who spread secrets and rumors are inherently dangerous. They don't just gossip. They often exaggerate or fabricate details to make their stories more compelling. It doesn't take much for them to start talking behind someone's back. A minor disagreement or a brief argument is enough to turn a former best friend into their latest target. And if they can do this to others, how can you be sure they won't do the same to you? Stoic philosophy teaches us that trust is a precious gift, not something to hand out carelessly. Marcus Aurelius once said, "If someone speaks ill of others to you, don't think they won't do the same about you." People who disregard others' privacy and dignity cannot be trusted. They won't hesitate to use the secrets you've shared against you when the situation no longer benefits them. Trust must be built on honesty and loyalty. If you notice someone frequently fabricating stories or spreading rumors, take it as a major red flag. Ask yourself, am I willing to risk my peace of mind and dignity for this person? Remember, no one is worth risking your trust if they can't respect others' privacy. Instead of investing your time in them, focus on nurturing relationships with those who know how to keep secrets and respect your value. These are the people who truly deserve to be the foundation of your peace and success. The second type of person you should not trust, the constant critic. Imagine pouring your heart into an important project, late nights, early mornings, and meticulous attention to detail. Finally, the day comes to share your work, and instead of receiving constructive feedback or recognition, you're met with relentless criticism. This isn't right. Why didn't you think bigger? Suddenly, it feels like all your efforts have been dismissed with a wave of negativity. These critiques don't build you up. They tear you down, leaving your self-esteem in shambles. Constant critics often hide behind the guise of honesty or helpfulness, but they foster toxic environments. They don't encourage growth. They instill fear, fear of mistakes, fear of judgment, and fear of taking risks. In such an environment, creativity dies, replaced by defensiveness and self-doubt. Every action feels like stepping on eggshells, always anticipating the next round of disapproval. According to Stoic philosophy, criticism only holds as much power as you allow it. Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "Reject your sense of injury, and the injury itself disappears." This doesn't mean ignoring all criticism, but rather analyzing it critically. Is this feedback meant to help you grow? Or is it a reflection of someone else's negativity? If there's value, use it to improve. If not, let it pass like a fleeting wind. Picture this: you're part of a recreational soccer team. Each time your pass misses its mark, a teammate mocks you instead of offering guidance. After a few weeks, you lose your enthusiasm for the game and begin to dread every touch of the ball. This is the destructive impact of non-constructive criticism. But you can shift the narrative. Focus on what you can control: your skills, your learning process. Ignore the negativity and prioritize personal growth. Stoicism teaches us that true strength lies in our response. Don't let constant critics bring you down. Guard your self-esteem, extract value from meaningful feedback, and discard baseless negativity. When you refuse to let criticism dictate your thoughts, you'll find freedom, resilience, and the ability to keep growing despite the noise. The third type of person you should not trust: the superficial friend. There's a type of person who's at every party, always smiling and blending in seamlessly. But when life throws you real challenges, they vanish like a shadow in the fog. Superficial friends are the ones who show up when things are going well, when you're thriving, successful, or when no extraordinary effort is required from them. But when you truly need a shoulder to lean on, sound advice, or simply someone's honest presence, they're nowhere to be found. I remember a time in my life when I decided to chase a dream, opening a small cafe on a quaint street corner. At first, everything seemed smooth. I received congratulations, encouragement, especially from a close friend I thought I could trust. But when the project faced challenges, when financial pressures mounted, and I needed genuine support, he stopped showing up. Our conversations became rare, and when they happened, they were filled with shallow pleasantries. Stoic philosophy teaches that true relationships are not measured by quantity, but by quality. Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, famously said that a few genuine friends are far more valuable than 100 superficial ones. A true friend isn't just present during moments of celebration, but stands by you in the shadows when you need help the most. Stoicism encourages us to seek relationships that reflect our values, friends who are reliable, steadfast and supportive. Imagine going through a tough time. Perhaps you've lost your job or faced a major life setback. You call the friend who always laughed with you at parties, hoping for a few words of encouragement. Instead of finding a listening ear, you're met with prolonged silence or even avoidance. It's in these moments that you realize their presence wasn't meaningful. It only amplified your feelings of loneliness. Don't let yourself get caught in the trap of superficial relationships. Friends like these don't just waste your time and energy, they pull you away from meaningful connections. Protect your emotional well-being. Cherish those who genuinely stand by you in both the highs and the lows. True relationships won't just elevate the quality of your life, they'll provide the inner peace you deserve. The fourth type of person you should not trust: people who lack empathy. Imagine going through a tough day and deciding to confide in a friend. Instead of receiving comfort or empathy, you're met with a dismissive response like, "Oh, that's tough, but my day was even worse." Worse yet, they launch into a long monologue about their own challenges and successes, leaving no space for your feelings. This is a clear sign of someone who lacks empathy. Empathy isn't just the ability to understand another's emotions. It's the foundation for building genuine and meaningful relationships. When you encounter people who lack empathy, you'll notice their inability to put themselves in your shoes. They disregard your emotions, dominate conversations with their own narratives, and sometimes even exploit your vulnerabilities to serve their own agendas. Interacting with them feels draining, leaving you feeling overlooked and undervalued. Stoic philosophy offers a refreshing perspective on dealing with such individuals. Epictetus emphasized that kindness and understanding should be shown even when the other party doesn't reciprocate. Stoicism encourages us not to meet indifference with anger, but to use these moments as opportunities to practice patience and cultivate virtue. However, this doesn't mean tolerating harmful behavior. The Stoics remind us of the importance of setting boundaries to safeguard our mental and emotional well-being. Picture this: You have a co-worker who frequently asks for your help, but consistently avoids lending a hand when you need it. Instead of supporting you, they make excuses or outright ignore your requests. Such interactions highlight their lack of empathy, as they prioritize their own needs over yours, without regard for your struggles or emotions. In these situations, Stoic philosophy teaches us to protect our inner peace rather than allowing their actions to dishearten you. See it as a reminder to be selective with your trust and relationships. Setting boundaries into lack of compassion, it's a way to shield yourself from unnecessary emotional harm. When faced with people who lack empathy, carefully consider how much you invest in those relationships. Enjoy their company superficially, if needed, but save your emotional energy for relationships that are meaningful and genuine. Ultimately, only those who truly value you are worthy of your trust. If you are watching the video up to this point, please leave your opinion. Then we move on to the fifth type of person you should never trust, the provocateur. Have you ever met someone who seems to live just to rattle you, to disrupt your peace? That's the provocateur in our lives. They're not here to engage in sincere conversations or build connections. They exist to sow discomfort. A sarcastic comment at the exact moment you think things are calm. A piercing glance that chips away at your confidence. They always know how to push you to the edge of your patience. Imagine attending a yoga class meant for relaxation and mindfulness, but every time you try to focus on your breath, there's someone in the corner making unnecessary remarks about your posture or letting out a mocking chuckle that throws you off. At first, you brush it off, but eventually you realize each session has become a battle between holding on to your inner calm and resisting their provocations. Stoic philosophy teaches us an invaluable lesson when dealing with such people. True power lies in our ability to control our minds, not in attempting to change the actions of others. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Rather than reacting to provocation, Stoicism encourages you to focus on your perception. Ask yourself, why does this person's behavior affect me? What inside me allows their actions to control my emotions? Once you shift your perspective from feeling threatened to recognizing their provocations as mere tests, you reclaim your power. In a tense workplace meeting, when a colleague constantly interrupts you, consider reframing the situation. Instead of feeling sidelined, see it as an opportunity to practice patience and composure. By not reacting in the way they expect, you not only maintain your peace, but also strip away their influence over you. Learning to deal with the provocateur isn't just about managing your emotions. It's about growth and self-mastery. Remember, when you master your mind, no one else can control you. That's the ultimate gift of Stoic philosophy, true freedom from within. The sixth type of person you should not trust, the complainer. In life, you've likely encountered someone who always seems trapped in an endless loop of problems and pain. They constantly talk about their struggles and sorrows, often exaggerating them to draw attention. The unfortunate truth is that no matter how much you try to help or empathize, they're not genuinely seeking solutions. Instead, they crave someone to listen and console them, but they never actually change. Imagine you have a friend who constantly shares their failures at work. The first time you listen attentively and offer sincere advice. The second time you become concerned and invest your time in providing additional support. But by the 10th time, it dawns on you They're not looking for answers. They're looking for attention. You find yourself caught in a spiral of sad stories, yet all your efforts feel like drops in a desert, futile and draining. According to Stoic philosophy, Epictetus once taught, "Do not worry about things outside your control." This doesn't mean you ignore your friend, but it does mean recognizing your limits. Empathy is essential, but you can't let your emotions and mental health be overwhelmed by issues you cannot resolve. Instead of feeling responsible for fixing their life, support them with clarity. Listen empathetically, but don't let their problems become your burden. If you notice these conversations depleting your energy, it might be time to establish boundaries. This not only helps protect your peace, but also teaches them that real change must come from within. Remember, helping others doesn't mean sacrificing your mental well-being. By practicing empathy without letting it turn into dependency, you can maintain balance in your life. Most importantly, you'll learn how to preserve your inner peace, even when faced with those who dwell in negativity. The next type of person you should not trust: the two-faced person. One of the most frustrating types of people to encounter in life is the two-faced individual. They may smile and engage in friendly conversations with you, creating an illusion of trust and camaraderie. Yet, as soon as your back is turned, they are ready to speak ill of you, betraying the very trust you thought you shared. Imagine this familiar scenario. There's someone in your social circle who always seems cheerful, approachable, and supportive. You consider them a reliable ally. But then you discover they've been spreading false rumors about you, tarnishing your reputation at a gathering or during an important event. The feeling of betrayal and disappointment is hard to shake. How could someone be so duplicitous? Stoic philosophy teaches us that people like this are not worth your time or energy. Seneca, the Stoic philosopher, advised, "It is better to be alone than to be in bad company." Relationships with two-faced individuals create conflict, distrust, and insecurity, exactly the opposite of what we strive for in seeking inner peace. The key is to recognize the true nature of such people as early as possible. Do not let their deceitful actions shake your dignity or integrity. When confronted with betrayal from a two-faced person, remain composed. Remember, reacting with anger or strong emotions only plays into their manipulative hands. Instead, sever ties with these insincere connections. Focus your energy and trust on those who are genuine and respectful. Building relationships based on honesty and mutual support not only preserves your inner peace, but also enhances the quality and stability of your social interactions. Keep in mind that while their actions may hurt you, you hold the power over how you respond. By upholding your values and ethical standards, you protect your self-respect and maintain dignity in the eyes of those who truly matter. Ultimately, life will reward you with relationships that are far more authentic and deserving. Type 8. People who can't take no for an answer. Have you ever met someone who simply cannot accept the word no? These are the kinds of people who, when their requests are denied, resort to all sorts of tactics to pressure you into compliance. At first, they may appear friendly and approachable, but don't be fooled. The moment you decline, their attitude can change in an instant, turning cold, accusatory, or worse, making you feel as though you're the selfish one. Imagine having a friend who frequently asks for your help. One day, you say no because you're overwhelmed with work and family commitments. Instead of understanding, They act as if you've committed some grave injustice. Statements like, "I didn't think you were that kind of person," or "I would never do that to you," might slip out, not to empathize, but to guilt-trip you. You're left feeling both pressured and doubting your own worth. People who can't take no often view relationships as one-way streets. They care about you only as long as you're useful to them. However, Stoic philosophy teaches us that no one has the right to infringe upon your freedom or values. Marcus Aurelius emphasized that you are responsible for your own emotions and decisions, not those of others. Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect, not pressure or manipulation. What's worse, this type of person may escalate their response when denied. They may not just react with anger, but could weaponize your past vulnerabilities against you. For instance, if you once confided in them about a personal failure, they might now bring it up to make you feel weak, all because you didn't give them what they wanted. In situations like this, it's essential to stand firm and establish boundaries. Don't let them invade your autonomy or make you feel responsible for their disappointment. Seneca wisely advised that it's better to distance yourself from disrespectful people than to maintain toxic relationships. This doesn't mean you don't care about others. It means you prioritize your self-respect and emotional well-being. Remember, you have the right to say no without explanation or guilt. Each time you decline an unreasonable request, you not only protect yourself, but also foster an environment where relationships are grounded in mutual respect rather than coercion. The last type of person we will look at in this video is the psychological manipulator. This is the kind of person you might not recognize immediately because they excel at creating a perfect image of care and understanding. They listen to you, agree with you, and make you feel like you're confiding in a true kindred spirit. But behind the smiles and comforting words lies a plan to exploit your emotions, your information, and your trust for their own benefit. Imagine you have a new neighbor who always shows up at the right moment when you're in trouble. One day you cut your hand while cooking, and they suddenly appear with a first aid kit and reassuring advice. You think, what a great person, but after a few similar incidents, you notice that every time they help, they ask things like, "Have you ever considered selling your house? Or would you mind if I hosted a party in your yard?" Gradually, you realize their kindness always comes with strings attached. Psychological manipulators are cunning and strategic. They don't just learn about you. They use what you share to gain an advantage. They might use your secrets to win an argument or make you feel obligated to help them. Their relationships aren't built on genuine connection but on control. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Observe their actions, not just their words." This is a crucial principle when dealing with someone who seems less than sincere. Pay attention to how they act in their relationships with others. Do they respect boundaries? Are they consistent in how they treat you and others? Stoic philosophy teaches us to set clear boundaries to protect ourselves from such people. If you recognize someone using your emotions or information to manipulate you, pause and reassess the relationship. Don't let them control you. Protect your emotional well-being and reserve your trust for those who have proven they deserve it. Finally, remember that not everyone deserves your trust. Manipulators can create waves in your life, but you have the power to maintain your inner peace by keeping your distance. Investing in authentic relationships will bring you the harmony and mutual respect you truly deserve. And there you have it. Folks, we've just explored 9 types of people you should be cautious about or completely steer clear of. Perhaps you recognized a few familiar faces in this list. Don't worry, we've all misplaced our trust at some point. What truly matters is learning from those experiences and growing stronger. Remember, life isn't about the quantity of relationships you have, but the quality of the people you choose to keep in your circle. As Seneca wisely said, better to be alone than in bad company. So, choose wisely and protect your inner peace. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, share it and leave a comment below. We'd love to hear from you. Have you ever encountered someone like this? How did you handle it? Share your story and help the community learn from your experience. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. There's so much more insightful content coming your way. Thank you for watching. And as always, stay calm, respect your values, and keep striving for a better you. See you in the next video. Jealousy, it's like an invisible storm cloud that looms over the best of times. What's ironic is how we can feel completely at ease around people who secretly wish us harm. They smile, they laugh, but underneath it all, they're rooting for our downfall. And here's the kicker: those who are jealous rarely admit it. Instead, their negativity seeps out like a slow leak, subtly hinting at their true feelings. But don't worry, today we're cutting through the fog. In this video, I'll unveil 10 unmistakable signs someone is jealous of you and, more importantly, how to deal with it like a stoic master. Stick around until the end. You won't want to miss the eye-opening insights that could change how you approach your relationships. Let's face it, being surrounded by jealous people is like walking through a minefield. You're out here chasing dreams, achieving goals, living your best life. Meanwhile, someone else, unable to celebrate your wins, might be secretly plotting ways to bring you down. Jealousy often stems from unhealthy comparisons. People see your highlight reel and assume your life is all roses and sunshine. But it gets worse. The closer they are to you, the more access they have to your personal victories. And if they can't handle your success, their jealousy festers. Here is the thing: we've all felt envy at some point. The real test is how we handle it. Do we let it grow into bitterness? Or do we recognize it and let it go? The same goes for spotting jealousy in others. It's not just a harmless feeling. It can snowball into resentment and eventually sabotage. So buckle up, we're about to dive into the 10 telltale signs someone is jealous of you and what you can do about it. Don't skip a second, these insights might just save you from the storm. Let's get started. Number 1, they are copying what you do. Have you ever noticed someone in your life start mimicking everything you do? At first, it might seem like admiration. They praise your ideas, pay attention to how you work, and even appear eager to learn from you. But over time, it starts feeling less like flattery and more like subtle competition. And the worst part, they never admit they're copying you. Let me tell you about James, a talented interior designer. James had a colleague named Brian who frequently asked for his input on projects. James, being generous, happily shared his ideas, from design concepts to decoration plans. But one day, James noticed Brian wasn't just listening, he was replicating. Brian began presenting James' ideas as his own, sometimes even bringing them to clients first. At a design event, Brian showed up with a setup eerily similar to James' work. When praised for it, Brian simply smiled. never acknowledging where the inspiration came from. This kind of imitation often stems from insecurity. Rather than discovering their own value, people like Brian focus on copying others, hoping it will grant them the sense of worth they lack. What they fail to realize, though, is that copying only makes them appear less original. What people admire about James isn't just his ideas, it's the authenticity and creativity he pours into his work. So, what should you do when faced with envious people trying to copy you? First, focus on your work. Don't let their actions discourage or distract you. Keep creating and developing your ideas with confidence. Authenticity will always outshine imitation. Second, set boundaries. Not every plan or idea needs to be shared with those who don't respect your originality. Protect your creativity by being selective with what you disclose. Third, keep evolving. True creativity is nearly impossible to copy. If you're constantly innovating, they'll never catch up. Document your work too, so you can safeguard your originality and prove your ownership if needed. Finally, be generous. Wish them the clarity to see their own worth and find their own path. Don't let their imitation strip away your compassion. Remember, no matter how much they try, they can never truly become you, and that is your greatest strength. Keep doing what you do best. It's your uniqueness and authenticity that people love, and no one can replicate that. Number 2, they try to bring you down. Jealousy is a complex and unsettling emotion. It often manifests in subtle ways, but its goal remains the same: to pull you down, damage your confidence, and diminish your value. Imagine you've just completed a major project at work, pouring your heart and soul into it. When you share your accomplishment with a colleague, instead of receiving praise or support, they respond with a comment like, "It's okay, but maybe it could have been better if you tried a different approach." A small remark, but enough to make you doubt yourself. Jealous people often undermine systematically. It's not just criticism. They find ways to hurt you from angles you wouldn't expect. Picture this: you're preparing for an important presentation, and someone you trust gives you false information about the time or location of the event. The result: you arrive late, feeling flustered and losing your usual confidence. They may also isolate you as a tactic. For example, a group of close friends plans a get-together but intentionally leaves you out. You only find out about it through social media. This action not only hurts your feelings, but makes you question your importance to them. On top of that, they might spread false rumors to tarnish your reputation. Perhaps they suggest your success wasn't earned fairly, or dig up past mistakes to cast doubt on your integrity. So, how do you deal with situations like this? First, reassess your inner circle. Betrayal often comes from those closest to you, the ones who know you best. Maintain a healthy distance and avoid sharing all your plans or sensitive information with them. Second, protect yourself by setting clear boundaries. You don't need to accept every negative action without a measured response. Most importantly, stay calm and seek emotional support from people you truly trust. Forgiveness is a powerful choice, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. At the same time, turn to sources of inspiration or prayer to help you move past the anger and hurt. Remember, no matter how much they try to bring you down, your value doesn't come from their judgment or actions. It comes from knowing who you are and the good you bring to the world. Number 3, They are happy when you fail and pretend to be happy when you succeed. Not everyone truly rejoices in your success. Some people wear a mask of fake happiness, hiding their envy behind forced smiles. Imagine you just got promoted at work and excitedly share the news with a friend. They smile and congratulate you, but their eyes avoid yours, and they quickly change the subject. While their words convey celebration, their body language reveals discomfort, even bitterness. Jealous individuals don't just feel uneasy about your success. They find satisfaction in your failures. If you encounter a setback, they might be the first to spread the word. They could say something like, "Finally, they didn't get everything right," as if to prove you're not perfect. Instead of offering a helping hand, they feel uplifted by your struggles, as though your misstep somehow validates their own insecurities. How can you tell if someone isn't genuinely happy for you? Their body language often gives them away. When you share good news, they might struggle to maintain eye contact, cross their arms defensively, or even roll their eyes. Their smile may lack sincerity, and they might try to downplay your achievement or quickly shift the conversation to something else, signaling that your success makes them uncomfortable. But not all signs are so obvious. This is where spiritual discernment becomes valuable. If you're deeply connected to your inner self, you may sense their unease through subtle cues, even if they try to hide it. This doesn't mean you should doubt everyone around you, but being aware of who's genuinely supportive is essential for protecting your emotional and mental well-being. So, how do you handle people like this? First, set boundaries. Not everyone needs access to every detail of your victories or challenges. Be selective about who you share with, and limit how much influence insincere people have over your life. Second, don't let their jealousy impact your spirit. Stay focused on your journey, and remember that your success isn't a reason for anyone to feel uncomfortable. Lastly, practice letting go. Not everyone will understand or support you, and that's okay. What matters is that you know you're on the right path and refuse to let negativity hold you back. The truth is, not everyone will cheer you on, but that doesn't diminish the value of your success or the significance of your journey. Keep moving forward, celebrate your wins with those who truly love and support you, and leave the insincere ones to wrestle with their envy. Life is too short to waste energy on what doesn't matter. Number 4, they always discourage you when you develop a great idea. Not everyone around you will be excited when you share a fresh and promising idea. Some people, instead of supporting you, might find subtle ways to extinguish the spark of your creativity. They may disguise their jealousy as reasonable advice, but their true intent is to make you doubt yourself and hesitate. Imagine you have a unique idea to open a cozy coffee shop in your small town. When you share this, a friend might say, "That sounds okay, but do you think this town has enough customers?" They might add, "Starting a coffee shop is expensive. What if it doesn't work out?" These comments aren't meant to encourage solutions, but to plant seeds of doubt. They may also question your abilities. You might hear, "Do you really think you have enough experience to manage a business like that?" Or they might raise false concerns, saying, "I'm just worried you'll blow all your savings on this." If they genuinely cared, they wouldn't just point out challenges. They'd help you find investors, suggest ideas, or offer emotional support to help you overcome obstacles. So, what should you do when faced with discouragement like this? First, filter out the negativity. Not all advice comes from a place of goodwill. If you sense negativity, set it aside. Focus on your vision and remind yourself that your creativity is unique and valuable. Second, trust yourself. Don't let others' words hold you back. If you've done your research and believe in your idea, move forward. Not everyone sees the potential that you do, and that's okay. You're pursuing your goals, not theirs. Third, learn to set boundaries with those who consistently sow doubt. You don't have to share every idea or plan with everyone. Reserve your thoughts for people who genuinely believe in and support you. Remember, not everyone wants to see you succeed. Finally, use criticism as fuel to prove them wrong. Let your creativity and determination lead the way. You're not just pursuing something you love. You're proving that you can take control of your own life. Remember, a great idea always has the potential to transform your life, even if others can't see it. Stay confident, hold on to your faith, and don't let anyone dim your light. You were made to grow, not to be held back. Keep moving forward and show the world your true worth. Number 5, they make you feel like you are doing too much. Have you ever had someone say to you, "Slow down a bit, you don't need to do so much"? It might sound like genuine advice, but often it comes from jealousy. People who can't match your energy or pace often find ways to hold you back, making you feel like you need to slow down so they don't feel left behind. They might tell you that your goals are too ambitious or that your dreams aren't realistic. But let's be clear, these words are not meant to help you. They're meant to plant seeds of doubt in your mind. Once, I had a colleague named Mike. Mike was a hard worker, always going above and beyond to deliver exceptional results. But another co-worker, instead of learning from Mike's work ethic, said to him, "Mike, why are you doing so much? Relax, you don't need to work that hard." At first, Mike felt confused, even questioning if he was overdoing it. But soon, he realized those comments weren't about concern. They were about the other person's insecurities and inability to keep up. Remember, no one has the right to decide your pace or path except you. Jealousy often surfaces when you achieve things others are too afraid to attempt or simply can't do. They may not outright tell you to stop, but they'll subtly advise you to slow down and scale back your efforts. Don't fall for comments like you're doing too much. If you have big dreams, pursue them relentlessly, because your hard work isn't for their approval. It's for your fulfillment. Stoic philosophy teaches us that we don't need external validation to live our lives. Stay focused on your core values. If you know you're on the right path, keep moving forward. Don't let the jealousy of others slow you down. Instead, use their words as fuel to propel you further. So, the next time someone tries to make you feel like you're doing too much, pause and ask yourself, what are my goals? What gives my life meaning? Don't let their negativity cloud the path you're carving out for yourself. Keep moving forward with strength and confidence, because your success is the best response to their jealousy. Number 6. They give you bad advice in disguise and mean well to you. Not everyone who offers advice genuinely wants to see you succeed. Envious individuals often disguise harmful suggestions as helpful guidance, steering you away from your goals or creating obstacles in your path. These people craft their advice to seem well-meaning, but their real intent is to derail your progress and keep you from reaching your full potential. Take the story of Sarah, an ambitious entrepreneur with a groundbreaking startup idea. When Sarah shared her business plan with a colleague, This person suggested she pivot her strategy, claiming this is how successful companies approach customers. But instead of helping, the advice led Sarah down an unproductive path, wasting valuable time and resources. Why? The colleague wasn't genuinely interested in Sarah's success. They were intimidated by her progress and hoped she'd stumble. People like this often justify their suggestions with lines like, "This is what everyone does," or "It's the quickest way to achieve your goals." But beware, such advice is usually a trap designed to compromise your principles or push you into decisions that could harm your reputation or future. So, how can you handle such situations? First, stand firm in your values and beliefs. No success is worth compromising your integrity or self-respect. Before acting on advice, pause and ask yourself, does this align with my principles? Always seek counsel from trusted individuals with experience and maturity. Mentors or close friends can provide valuable perspective and help you evaluate advice objectively. Second, learn to filter information. Not all advice is worth taking, and you have every right to dismiss anything that doesn't serve your purpose. As 1 Corinthians 15:33 reminds us, do not be misled. Bad company corrupts good character. Distancing yourself from envious or negative influences can safeguard your progress and well-being. Finally, lean into prayer for discernment. Ask for wisdom to distinguish between helpful and harmful advice. Trust God's guidance, especially when the path forward seems unclear. With faith, you can navigate challenging decisions and find the support and resources needed to succeed. Remember, only you and God hold the ultimate authority over your journey. Stay vigilant, trust your instincts, and remain true to your principles. Lasting success isn't built on shortcuts, but on perseverance and steadfast commitment to your values. Number 7. They always mention people who are better than you to make you feel unworthy. Have you ever shared the joy of an achievement with a friend or colleague only to be met with a dismissive comment like, "That's not bad, but have you seen how much better he's doing than you?" This is a classic sign of jealousy. Instead of celebrating your success, they try to diminish your value by comparing you to others, leaving you doubting your own abilities. Over time, if you're not careful, these remarks can chip away at your confidence and make you feel like your accomplishments are not worth celebrating. Take the story of Linda, a successful entrepreneur who was recently featured in a local newspaper. When she shared this proud moment with a friend, he simply laughed and said, "Not bad, but have you seen Alex's company? He's pulling in double your revenue." Linda felt like her moment of joy was instantly overshadowed. Comments like these don't just dampen her spirit, they make her feel like her efforts will never measure up. If you notice someone in your life doing this, take it as a red flag. They're not genuinely happy for your success, and being in such a toxic environment makes it difficult for you to reach your full potential. So what should you do in this situation? First, don't let their words define how you feel. Your greatness doesn't need validation from anyone else. Be proud of what you've achieved, no matter how big or small. Next, reconsider how much trust you place in this person. It might be time to stop sharing the sensitive and meaningful aspects of your life with them. Not everyone deserves a front